Welcome to Real Life Fantasy Football Manager. We join the game in the second season and follow the exploits of Sheffield and manager Corfos. Born in Doetinchem, the player joined Vitesse's youth academy from Ajax's youth system in 2005. He made his first team debut in 2008 and has gone on to make over 100 Eredivisie appearances since. It was only last season where he really rose to prominence, producing impressive performances down the left-hand side for Vitesse and then starring as his side won the end-of-season playoffs to qualify for the Europa League. Those displays saw him named as one of 9 uncapped players called up to the Netherlands preliminary squad for Euro 2012, although he did not make the final cut as the orange plum for starlet Jetra Willems and experienced campaigner Wilfried Boma. A pacey and attacking left-back, he can also play in midfield and did so on occasions last season when Patrick van Aanholt, on loan from Chelsea, filled the left-back spot. Last season he successfully took on penalty-taking duty for Vitesse and became known for his powerful spot kicks. BUTTNER loves to get forward and can provide assists from out wide. Defensively his technique is sound but, worryingly like many modern fullbacks he often gets too carried away with his rampages forward and caught out as a result. In addition, there are doubts over his ability to perform consistently week in, week out. Hector Herrera is moving closer to a switch to Old Trafford. The gold medalist is currently with Pachuca, but the Mexican club have claimed talks have started over a possible transfer, even if no formal financial offer has been received. It's added that there will need to be a lot of negotiation over a work permit if any deal was pushed through. HENRIQUE is viewed as one for the future but insists he is joining the Premier League giants to play immediately. "If I go Manchester United it is to play," the teenager told El Mercurio. "The team will be involved in several competitions, so I have the opportunity to get minutes on the pitch with the first team. I have spoken to Alex Ferguson and he said that I would be under consideration this season. That excites me. I know that I will have a very difficult task because there are players in the team like Rooney, Van Persie and Chicharito, but I couldn't let this chance go by."
I just love the look of this guy. And there's just something about him, what I've seen on YouTube. He looks nippy, bright, sharp, everything that you want in a forward. He could be an absolute gem. Absolute. Looking forward to this guy. BUTTNER. Well, we needed cover at left back. HERRERA has been a liability for the past 2 seasons. Fergie has finally realised it. But he's putting it down to not the fact that HERRERA is over the hill, but that HERRERA has burnout, and basically there's no one to deputise for him. They've sent Fabio out on loan to Queen's Park Rangers. You would have thought before doing that they would have got somebody in, but hey, I don't earn £200,000 every week. BUTTNER apparently is fast and pacey, dynamic, has a good left peg, takes ferocious penalty kicks, marauds down the left-hand side, can also play left-sided midfield. For the price, £3 to £4 million, even if he's a dud, it doesn't really matter. They're looking for someone basically just to fill in now and again in the Premier League against the lesser-known teams. Be prepared to see HERRERA rolled out for the big games to keep him fresh. There's news of another signing, HERRERA, Hector Herrera. Don't know too much about him. There's not much about him on the press or in the YouTube or any other internet provider. But he's a gold medal. That looks good. Done pretty well. He seems to be a dynamic centre mid. So don't know much about it, but look, we've been crying out for a midfielder. And if we do get him, it's going to be brilliant because it's a position that hasn't been filled. Forget all your what's his face, who was bought from a 3rd division side and is now being played in the reserves. Forget the guy's name. And Kagawa. forget him because he's a more advanced player. We need someone in the engine room. And if Herrera is an engine room type midfielder, then that would be a fantastic signing. Happy days. Okay, so this was my squad at the season end. I purchased a new goalkeeper, Mats March. Got a couple of good players, Moran, Mendita, Bradley. That's about it. Apart from that, it's a pretty ordinary squad with no depth. But hey ho, we had a terrible start and finished in 8th place. Last season we finished 7th, so we were 1 down. But with the start we had in the season, it was a brilliant recovery. Absolutely brilliant recovery. The season culminated with Norwich Victoria winning the actual title, and Hinckley United winning the playoff final, so they'll join Victoria in a higher league. What can you say? It was misery for other teams. And by this chart you can see how bad a season we had. It began in mid-table, then we just sunk at the bottom. We was at the bottom for a few weeks, and then we gradually began to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb. We seem to be doing that. We're like Everton. Everton always has a terrible start to a season. As you can see on the conceded section, we've only conceded 40-something goals, which made us the 3rd best defence in the league. That's about it. Our attack is non-existent, but we can be hard to beat, which we're going to have to expand on. Riley was a top scorer. He was a top assists, most man of the matches, so Riley was the guy who stood out in our squad. We went through the season with various takeover stories, and every time a takeover story came up, it collapsed. We're hoping for someone to come in with some money, because the quality of players that are out there that are going to other teams we're missing out on. Our player of the year, the fans decided, was Derek Moran, which was not a controversial decision. He's our best player by far, but Riley had a great season in as much he broke his goal scoring record. This is Derek Moran. Riley broke our goal scoring record, and he was the most guy to do the assists, most man of the matches, so Riley can be a bit riled, but Derek Moran was a great player, and this was the team of the season, the best 11 that we could put out. Lazarus in goal, Mendieta, Moran, Beckles, Johnson as our back 4, midfield of Griffin, Blackwell, Peacock and Bradley on the left, and up front Tobias Osgood and Riley. We seem to flourish on a 4-4-2, and we experimented with playing one up front, didn't quite work out, so I think it's best in these lower leagues to just play a basic 4-4-2, don't go over sophisticated and too clever, because it never seems to work out, especially when you don't have the players to do that. So this is the overall dream team. Mendieta, Moran, Beckles, Johnson make up the back 4, Riley, the goalkeeper, Jackson on the right, Blackwell and Gascoigne in the middle, Morgan on the left, and up front Riley along with Tobias Osgood. So with the new season approaching, our first game is a trip to debt-ridden Marine, who reached the playoff finals, and then we visit on Boxing Day. We travel to the Dudson Cup winners, and the betting for this coming season, we're out of the betting. We're 33-1. Mid-table finish is the realistic target. So the bookies are not really favouring us to do anything. So based upon that, I've had a massive overhaul, massive change around, got rid of a lot of players and a lot of staff. 18 players were given free transfers, and got quite a few players in to replace them. And I think for this coming season, I'm going to do it slightly different. The start is going to be vital. Have to get the start right. If I can get the start correct, then the end will also look after itself. And although we're tipped for a mid-table finish, I'm forecasting that we're going to get into a playoff position.